What's up, everybody?
Yo, howdy
We are
doody.
here.
Think anyone says it anymore?
No, nobody ever said that.
There's gotta be one person that said howdy doody today besides me, like in the world.
Like non-ironically, like they said it for real, like howdy doody. Like that's how they say hi or something.
So I think there's probably two people that said it today. There's probably someone who said that shit like real, and then there's probably someone who said it as a joke. And then there's three people actually, because I said it as kind of inquiring if somebody said it. So I think three people said howdy doody today.
There's probably some 84-year-old guy who says it seriously, but he's like the only one left. And then
there's someone who's like mocking it.
Yeah, there's somebody like you who would say it, or like me who would say it, who's just fucking around type shit. So yeah, that's probably true.
And there's just mad people in the world, so there's definitely three people that said howdy doody today. Anyway.
Yeah, but they can only be like in the U.S. or like Canada. People who say that shit. Like nobody in India is like howdy doody. Nobody.
Someone in Sweden might have randomly said that shit today. Like in like Sweden or like Poland, maybe in some weird shit. There's probably some corny white dude who's like, howdy doody.
Are you watching the NBA playoffs?
Yeah, I've been watching. The Warriors are just beast. They're just on like another level.
Luka can't hold a candle right now.
I mean, he's a beast too, but like he's got to carry his whole team. It's JJ Redick said something. I think he's playing with like all second rounders and like just dudes who are like free agents. Nobody of any substance on his team, and he's like the only dude that's just beasting. And meanwhile, you got Golden State is like their whole team is Hall of Famers. It's like kind of ridiculous how good they're like. Even Andrew Wiggins, Steve
Kerr, stepped up.
Coach, like there's no like person you can attack on that team.
Remember though how I don't know how many years ago it was, maybe 3 years ago now, when Steph got hurt and Clay was hurt, and so you just had like Draymond and like the Warriors were like the worst team in the league. Remember that?
They were asked. Draymond fell off too. It's kind of like weird how that happened.
He needs them to be good. Like he needs Steph and Clay to be good because he's a guy who's a cleanup person. Like he'll do all the shit.
Yeah, he like facilitates and like like will just be there to kind of run the offense.
Yeah, he's gritty.
He's gritty, but back in the day, he used to be more like he used to shoot more. He used to like do more shit, and now it's kind of like he's not even like existing on the offense. And then like occasionally he'll get the ball at the top of the key, and nobody will be around him.
Yeah.
And that was like kind of one of the most disrespectful things because I could never shoot in basketball. But like
you had a good floater.
I had a good little floater like when I got in the lane because I kind of was like quick and could get around people. But my shot, I never like learned how to properly shoot.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the most disrespectful things is like when someone would straight just like leave you open type of shit, and you were like, damn, like at least
send somebody to fake defend me.
Yeah, like at least get a little bit close so it's not on some disrespectful shit where it's like I gotta now like think about the disrespect that you're giving me and shoot the ball. Like no other sport is there really anything like there's nothing in golf because golf is like solo, but it's not like your teammates can stand mad far away from you and kind of just like make you feel like, yeah, he never hits his putts, so we're just gonna like leave the course.
It is kind of disrespectful. The whole like I'm just not gonna guard you at all and leave you with that shot. That is kind of disrespectful.
I mean, it's in golf, it's kind of equivalent, but when it's not competitive, I guess. And if you're playing with your boys and they like start going to the next hole before you finish putting because they just know you're not gonna make the shit, it's almost like, yo, wait, we're out playing golf. At least wait till I'm done putting, you know?
Yeah, there is a comparison there. I remember when we used to play basketball all the time at Roosevelt Park. Yep. I remember one time we were playing. The best compliment I ever got was some offhand or underhanded comment when somebody passed the ball to me and I was standing at the corner. And I just I just committed like I'm driving this shit. Like in the back of my head, I was like, as soon as I get this ball, I'm driving hard, right?
Yep.
Person passed it to me, and I just drove hard and made the layup. And then like somebody on the other team was like, yo, why'd you let him do that? And the dude was like, I didn't even know he was that quick. And I was like, my ego went from like a 2 to an 8 in that 1 second because the way he said it was like, damn, I did like he didn't think that I was quick enough to get around him on some shit. And then when I did, he was like, oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah. So, basketball's a weird one because it's like one of the most. It's a sport where it's like off the court, everyone is like trying to be G as fuck. They're trying to have some swagger and like be cool and be like the coolest person in the building. But then on the court, it's weird how like all just like the natural things will just like blurt out of people's mouths to like show mad love and appreciate other people, which off the court they would never do, you know. But on the court, that guy would be like, damn, I didn't think he was that quick. But then off the court, like he'd never show you, unless he was like a cool dude, he would never show you mad love. Like, yo, you're mad quick. Like, that was a great move. Because it's just like the not cool thing to do.
Well, that's what I love about sports, though, because they're one of the only like pure meritocracies in the world. Like, the harder you work, the further you go in sports. There's no way, like, if you actually work harder and if you're committed to it, you're going to get better. I don't care what level you're starting at. It doesn't matter. And even for like really old people who might not be able to play physical sports anymore, there are sports that are more like skill based. Like that's why you see some 80-year-old dudes playing golf.
Yep.
Because it's more like you don't really have to be able to do anything physical for this. You just need to like try to practice getting the club on the ball with a square club face. Yep. You know? And if you can do that consistently, you're going to get good. And it's like, it's a pure meritocracy. It's like, however hard you work, however much you practice, that's as far as you're going to go. And to your point, usually people who are involved in sports, they're the first, like there's not much negativity because in sports, everybody is like working really hard and trying to be their best. And so like everybody always recognizes when other people are doing some cool shit.
Yeah.
Like I've played with people before where some dude hits like 4 or 5 threes in a row. And I'm just like, yo, like you're on fire.
Yeah, you just show up.
Everybody recognizes it, you know?
It's kind of similar with dancing. I remember going to like Dominican Republic with Jed, and like he freaks it on the dance floor. And like I got out there and I was like trying to do it, and like people were showing me love because I was at least trying. And that's the same thing with like sports. It's like if you're trying, people will show you love. And if occasionally you hit a nice like dance move or like you make a nice shot, people will show you love. But on the flip side of that, I couldn't dance for shit. And it got to a point where people were kind of like, yo, this dude is just straight ass cheeks. So it's like the same thing in sports too, where it's like, if someone's it's like just a straight bum, you got to just be like, yo, you're a bum, dog. Like, just stop playing.
Yeah, but so, like, people don't say it as much. You know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody's trash, nobody says anything negative to the person, at least.
They don't say it unless there's like a loud dude out there that's like, yo, this dude is garbage. Let him do whatever out there. Then you're kind of like, you could have saved that comment, man.
To your point on dancing, though, so I'm not a dancer either. I hate dancing. I'm not too much of a music guy. There are people who love music way more than I do. But the one time I really remember dancing hard, it was at my sister's wedding, and I popped some Adderall beforehand, and so I was high as a kite. It's basically like cocaine in a pill form, and man, I was freaking it on the dance floor. OD.
Yeah, I mean that's usually when. So I'm not anti-dancing. I actually I like to dance. I wish I was good at dancing, but to my like fault, I don't practice enough or like actually like try enough to like figure out like the rhythm for shit. So I typically don't pick up on either dance moves or like, you know, some people I think just have like a dancing gene where like if there's a new like TikTok trend or some shit, they could just pick it up and like figure out what the dance move is. I don't think I have that gene, but I love watching like people freak that shit on the dance floor because it's like there's, to your point, when you were out there killing it, there's something to just like being in the zone and just not caring how your body's moving. And sometimes even people who like have the craziest dance moves, like some of these videos of like just people, it looks like they have no rhythm and they're just wilding out doing whatever. They get mad love because they're kind of freaking it in a way where it's like, they don't even care what they're doing, and it almost comes out as like they're killing it in some type of dance move type of shit, you know?
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. Rhythm, the question about rhythm is interesting because it is possible that there's some aspect of rhythm that's like innate, you know? Because some people just don't have any rhythm at all. None, zero, like negative rhythm. And then other people have a lot of rhythm naturally.
It's usually like a corny redheaded kid who doesn't have like any... Just kidding. Shout out to all the redheads.
I'm trying to think, like, what percentage of people do I think can really have that natural rhythm? And I don't know the answer to it because I just haven't been in enough social situations where dancing's going on and stuff. But
yeah,
I don't know if it's a 50-50 split, but I feel like a decent percentage of people have some semblance of rhythm, you know?
I feel like a lot of it, though, is like, is it ethnic or culture or whatever? Because my brother's grown up with, like, Dominicans, like, Haitians, whatever it is. And, like, when they're a baby, they're, like, doing dance moves everywhere. Like, there's music everywhere.
That would be more cultural then, because Jed picking it up, you know, Jed being white, and then him picking it up would indicate that, like, if you start from when you're younger, you can develop the rhythm. So that's almost a counterpoint to what I'm saying about how maybe it's innate. Like, everybody can get better at dancing, but there's some people where the floor is just a lot higher. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And other people where the floor is lower. Like, yeah, if you're 5'8", maybe you can make it in the NBA as a point guard. You just got to work that much harder.
Yeah.
You know, there's only so many, you know, Muggsy Bogues out there, or Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. Some of those, like, best videos I've seen are, like, just people freaking that shit dancing. Like, that's one thing that I think, like, if I had a list of, like, 5, like, new hobbies I can learn, I think, like, break dancing, or just, like, you know, like that pop and lock type of shit. Like, you kind of could freak that back in the day. I think you kind of figured out the Usher moves a little bit, where you hit, like, the little, like, pop and lock, like, nice and slow type of shit.
The glide was my shit.
The glide, yeah, and that's not like, that's no easy fucking task. Like, that's an impressive move.
So I don't know where I fall in the natural rhythm scale. I'm definitely not the best with my rhythm, but I'm also not terrible with it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm maybe somewhere mid-level on the rhythm shit. But the reason why I was able to learn that is because there was one time when I was, I don't know, 13 or some shit, where I got obsessed with the glide. And I used to watch videos of people doing the glide, and I'd be like, how the fuck did they do that? That's so cool.
Did it start like the Michael Jackson glide, or
it started
Usher?
with Michael Jackson, and then everybody after that sort of did it, or did a version of it, or whatever.
Yeah.
And so then I spent like a solid few weekends just like watching everything I could about tutorials on how to do the glide, and then I just practiced it until I nailed that shit.
Yeah.
And then I figured out how to do it, and I was able to do the glide.
Yeah.
And I was that I'm not like I'm not big into dancing, but like I can respect when somebody else is a really good dancer.
Like, we used to rock with Chris Brown, Usher, like, killing some dance move shit, because it's just like, it just looks cool. Like,
yeah. You know what I like? I mean, again, showing my age here completely, but back in the day, like the NSYNC dances, like I remember being in middle school, I learned a couple of those dances.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely knew the bye shit.
Bye shit.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I
like
that
stomping as they're waving.
Yeah, I definitely like the choreographed nature of like 5 people doing the same shit.
Yep.
And yeah, I enjoyed that. But yeah, dancing has never been like not a hobby of mine in any serious way. The only thing I got obsessed with was learning that glide.
There was a dancing movie. It was with like Omarion, I think, was in it.
Oh. Step Up? No. Was it Step Up?
It might have been no.
Stomp the Yard?
Might have been one of those. Damn, I can't think of the name. And I watched it in Dominican Republic while Jed was in school, and I knew it from like start to finish. And there was like Lil Saint was one of the guys that like was one of the little kids who like died in the movie. Steve Harvey was in that shit. Oh man, whatever it was,
Harvey was in everything.
Yeah, he was. And then there was like a dance battle at the end. All those movies were good. I never saw Save the Last Dance with Julia Stiles, but supposedly I think that's kind of like I got no memory today. It's kind of like the 8 Mile for like a female white woman. I don't know if anyone's ever made that comparison, but isn't it like the same type of shit? Like, she was a really good dancer, and they kind of didn't look at her because she was like a white girl, and then she just went and freaked it.
Yeah, but I see what you're. I see the comparison you're making. 8 Mile. It's sort of an embarrassing admission. I don't know if I've ever watched all of 8 Mile. Like, I've definitely watched parts of it, but I don't know if I've ever watched the whole shit.
You had to have. That even I think I watched the whole 8 Mile movie.
But that's why I'm saying, like, embarrassing admission. You know?
That's one you might have to. I mean, you might have to go back and watch that one. Even though, like, I've said this before, I think Eminem was kind of
Yeah, you think he's overrated?
I think he's overrated. And I think he kind of was like really forced onto us. Like he might have been great and a good rapper, and kind of did break the. He didn't really even break the boundary of like white rappers because there was like Beastie Boys and like I feel like other rappers
Yeah, but
out there before him.
he was the first one to get real respect. Like there are
Yeah,
plenty of like top level black artists, rappers and shit who
that
are like
show him mad
Eminem's in
love.
my top 5 shit.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess he kind of did do his thing, but there are some forced upon us musicians like Limp Bizkit and No Doubt probably, but like but Eminem's valid and 8 Miles was a good one. And I think I think I watched the whole movie and I remember most of it. Like I think I watched the whole movie. But yeah, that's one you got to go back and watch. That's a staple. I mean, like people like lyrics, songs from the movie, like that one goes down in history.
Yeah, I mean it was definitely huge. I remember how big it was when it was out. But yeah, I'm not sure if I ever watched it. Maybe I did watch the whole shit. I don't know. I remember certain scenes,
I don't think I
where
ever
he's
watched
battle
Save the
rapping with
Last
whoever
Dance. I don't even know
I
what
did
that
see
one is
that.
about.
It was sort of whack. It was sort of whack. I didn't like that.
Yeah, Julia Stiles was famous in something else, and then she started dancing in that shit, and I was kind of like, she works, but also like, I kind of don't give a fuck. It was kind of like, Bridesmaids was actually pretty funny, and it was kind of like
I
the
saw
female
that
version of
of
Hangover.
right. Yeah. It was I kind of liked it. Bridesmaids was funny.
It was good, but I'm like a big not fan of Tiffany Haddish. I kind of think she's
Mm.
so overrated. I don't think she's funny at all. She was good in that movie, but she to me is kind of like a female Kevin Hart, where like
Yeah, you
she
hate
might be
Kevin Hart.
worse. Kevin Hart might have a little bit of a funny bone in him, but she to me, I don't find funny at all. But she's got a good story where she was like in a home and she got comedy
Yeah.
to get out or something like that.
The thing you don't like about Kevin Hart is that because this is the thing I think that annoys me about him. I think he's funnier than you think he is, but
Mhm.
I agree that he's overrated. Um, is it that he's a comedian, but he's also like super mainstream? Like he's sort of packaged perfectly, even though he's a comedian. Is that the thing that annoys you about it? Because to me, like I want comedians to be sort of countercultural and on the edge of society and sort of like not trying to fit in type
Yeah.
shit.
Mhm.
Whereas Kevin Hart is definitely the opposite of that. He's so mainstream as a comedian.
See, I think he does a good job of kind of separating his like comedy from like mainstreamness. Like I think he is in his American Express commercials and doing, Ellen
Yeah, that's
DeGeneres.
soulless.
It's what?
It's soulless as hell, like American
Oh
Express
yeah.
commercials and shit.
Yeah. No, totally. And that's why I think he does a good job of separating that from like when he does a comedy special, he'll still be like a little bit raw and uncut and kind of like keeps it real. But I just don't think it's funny. Like I don't think
Mm.
his comedy stuff is funny. And then once he tries to be funny on those like network shows, it's even more like I don't think you're funny.
Yeah, and the fact he even does those network shows is just annoying.
Yeah,
It's just so
I mean,
mainstream. I don't like.
at some point, I think when you're that big, like it's kind of like you have to do all that. Like it's hard.
Yeah,
Like
but then
how do you not do that and stay relevant? Like
yeah, but here's the thing though. Like, so he wanted to be super mainstream, and then he got I don't know what was it, the Oscars or the Grammys or some shit that he was supposed to host,
yeah, and
and
they
then they
said he
dug
couldn't
up
do it
his
or
old
something like that.
tweets. And
Yeah.
they dug up his old tweets and canceled him because he made a homophobic joke. And it's
Yep.
like, well, can't even feel that bad for you because like why the fuck do you want to host that award show anyway? Like why do you want to host
Yeah.
that shit? You know what I'm saying? Like if you're gonna be counterculture, like you just gotta be counterculture. And to your question of like, well, what are you supposed to do if you're somebody like that? There's a lot of comedians. Like think of Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon's not going on fucking Ellen show. Like he's a comedian's comedian, And like that in my mind, that's what a comedian should be. Like when I think of like OG comedians, I think of like George Carlin and
Yeah.
Bill Hicks and these old school guys who were smart and funny, but they weren't at all trying to fit in. Like they didn't, you
They
know what I'm
also have
saying?
like
Whereas,
different audiences though. Like is Kevin Hart's audience like
true.
listening to podcasts and stuff like that? Like Kevin or Tim Dillon's audience is
Good
not,
question.
you know,
Watching Ellen.
watching the Oscars or some shit. Like yeah, watching
True.
Ellen. Like
True.
but shout out to Ellen. I mean, she's in her last season and I know I've given her shit and I think she kind of is like mad disinterested with her show. Even though I will say, if Ellen listens to this podcast, I think she's kind of getting the fire again, like towards the end, because she realizes like the power she has with her show, and like it puts her in this like pedestal of like, you know, she's got the power to invite Barack Obama on her Ellen show, whereas she's gonna quickly realize once she doesn't have that shit anymore, no one's gonna give a fuck about her. So like the fact that she has that primetime show on NBC gives her that clout to like invite all these people on and be like, oh, Julia Roberts, you're on my show. I can make a joke about you wearing some dress because you're on my show. Like, you can't do that shit now when you don't have your show. So I think she's gonna start, or she's starting to realize that like she's losing that little like thing she has on other celebrities. So she might be like, I'm coming back for another season on some Tom Brady shit. So if that does happen, you heard that here first. Ellen is going to return for another season just because it's the same shit with Tom Brady that I don't know if we spoke about this, but like once you have that power and like that, like just people, she's got all these random ass ladies yelling for her in the audience. You don't get that shit going to fucking Whole Foods shopping. So like, I think she'll come back for another season.
Do you still watch it? You still watch her show or no?
Occasionally, like if I'm chilling at 3:00 and like it comes on, like I said, it's colorful. It looks new. Like it looks like
colorful.
Yeah, like it's you know what I'm talking about. Like it's one of those shows that like looks like a new show. It's not like on some like the colors are dull and like you just like, was this shit taped like 3 weeks ago? It looks like you're watching some shit that like actually is happening like right in the moment. So when it comes on, I'm like, all right, they might talk about some shit that's happened in the news, like, which they'd never do, and it could have been recorded 40 weeks ago, but it looks like that shit is hot off the press.
You have a love-hate relationship with Ellen. It's like, you know, she's a colossal piece of shit because of all those stories that came out about how she treats people like garbage. You know that she's just like the ultimate Hollywood insider and just loves snuggling up to the stars and like takes her position for granted and shit. But at the same time, you can't turn away. You love that shit.
Yeah, no, I do like it. I mean, I like when I always get tight because whatever episode I'm watching, they'll always put some shit on the screen that's like, tomorrow's episode is, and it's like a fucking banging ass person. I'm like, why can't that shit just be right now? Like why can't yesterday's shit be today with like the dope ass person? So she's always got like good people on the next day's episode. But no, I don't particularly like her, but I just like the format of her show, and it's just something about like it's like Molly watching the Kardashians. I don't know if she really likes that shit, but it's like you watch it because it's like it's there, and it's like
I'll say something controversial right now. I would find the Kardashian show more interesting than the Ellen show. Like I've seen maybe 2 or 3 episodes of the Kardashian show, and there is a weird thing about it where you're like, damn, is she gonna buy the cream cheese? Like you just get yourself sucked into it where you're like, her and Dave are fighting. I don't even know the names.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like Courtney's old husband, I forget his name. He's a mess piece of shit. Some like preppy white dude. Scott. I got sucked into the episodes. Scott. Yeah, Scott. I got sucked into the episodes where I was like, damn, why is Scott doing that? And then you can't help but like keep watching it. But Ellen, that like those daytime TV talk shits never appealed to me. Crystal talks about how she saw what's her name? Kelly Clarkson. Kelly Clarkson, they gave her a show.
I watched that shit too.
During the day.
Yep, she right said before Ellen.
It was miserable as fuck. Like it was on in the background when she was, I forget where she was, but she was somewhere and it was on in the background and she was watching it and the whole shit was like super forced and the audience clearly was like, you know, over the top. The applause signs were going off and she was like, the host was like, Kelly Clarkson was nervous and she was like, it was the least organic and authentic shit I've ever seen in my life. That's how I feel about most of the daytime talk shows. But I'm trying to think right now if maybe I'll contradict myself. Is there any old talk show that's that style format that I liked? I'm trying to think.
Did you ever fuck with you never fucked with, I mean, you like the Maury show.
I never really watched it regularly. I never watched Jerry Springer or Maury. There was the Sally Jesse Raphael show. I never watched that regularly.
Ricky
Low-key maybe Oprah. maybe her, whenever she had on a big name, like she had on Tiger Woods back in the day when he was like first coming up, maybe some shit like that I would tune into. But
see, hers is
generally
almost like, to me, a little bit too, like she took herself too serious with the daytime shit.
Well, that's Ellen for sure now too, but she became like bigger than anything ever. Like her show was the show. But I find it funny though that you have the same daytime TV tastes as like a middle-aged housewife.
I mean, but the fact that like I don't even know who the executives just throw anybody, like Nick Cannon has a show now.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I actually wrote him down as one of the things I wanted to talk about today because I watched a bunch of these videos that were really addictive. On like one of them was like the fall of Delonte West or some shit like that. Another one was on Nick Cannon. Man, Nick Cannon.
Did he fall from grace?
Oh, he's got such a crazy story. He had like a dad who was like a pastor, and he made it so that Nick was super straight laced and he wasn't even allowed to wear cool clothes. And so like the fact that his dad was so repressive and super Christian when he was young, as Nick got older, it made him
turbans now.
It made him want it made him want to like rebel and be more cool and be more obnoxious when he was younger. And then as he got older, he has some like strange religious beliefs that like Nation of Islam type stuff.
I know he's got like 18 kids or something like that.
And he's got, I think it's 7 kids with 4 women. I think it is.
It's wild.
And he was like he's massively against monogamy, and he's got all these different women, and it was just like, it seems like he just strikes me as like unhinged. Like I feel bad for him. He just seems like totally unhinged.
Yeah, he looks super lost.
One of his kids passed away.
Yeah.
And some other new woman was pregnant within like a month or some shit.
Yeah, to me that's
bro. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean he's always I mean, I think he was kind of clean cut, like coming up. Not clean cut, but just
he had
like
Nickelodeon shows.
Yeah, like Nickelodeon shows, but I think he went to Arizona State and like got his degree, and he kind of like got, I think, some heat just from like the hip hop rap community of like, yo, you went to college and kind of like were brought up with both your parents type of shit. Like everything seemed like perfect for him to like which led to like his rap career, which is like, nah, you don't really have enough street cred to be doing this. And so I think he started to rebel as he had gotten like older type of shit, and like started doing like, wearing funky clothes. But like the whole multiple women thing and like a lot of kids, and that's cool if you want to do all that yourself. But like he also said some like anti-Semitic things, I think, one time.
Yeah, well, he's with the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam is run by Farrakhan, and Farrakhan is super anti-Semitic.
Yeah, so once you start like kind of promoting shit out there and like talking about the fucked up shit that you're doing, is kind of like, yo, just if you're gonna do that, keep that stuff to yourself. Like,
yeah, his whole adult life seems like a fucking cry for help.
Yeah.
When he started getting into rap, he like very quickly started beefing with Eminem because, of course, Nick Cannon was with Mariah Carey for a really long time.
Yep.
Married, I think, at one point, and he released like 3 different diss videos against Eminem with him and like his boys, and every time one of them dropped, I would watch it, and like he had these diss videos that had like 90% dislikes on YouTube. The shits were trashington.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I really like Drumline was solid. Drumline was a solid movie, and I'm kind of a fan of Wildin' Out. Like Wildin' Out sometimes will have me laughing. Not the new Wildin' Outs. I think they get a little bit funky, but like the old school ones where there'd be like a rapper who's kind of still up and coming. I could get down with a little bit because sometimes it's funny. And there's also, you ever watch Super Late at Night? There's this comedy show called like comedy like Uncensored or something like that.
Oh, with Byron Allen or some shit.
Yeah, he like bought BET or something. Like supposedly he was like a billionaire. But that show is so bad that I almost sit there and watch it because
it is so bad. It's so bad. It's
there's
so
some old school comedians that are on there. Like Tom Segura, I think, was on there. Tiffany Haddish was on there. Like when they were young.
Yeah, it's terrible, that show. It's so like scripted and forced. It's so the opposite of what comedy is supposed to be.
Yep.
That show was terrible. What was the name of that Nickelodeon show that was supposed to be like Nickelodeon's version of Eminem? All That. It's called All That. That is a show I will swear by. That show was phenomenal. That was the golden era of Nickelodeon. You had All That. You had Keenan and Kel, which I will maintain to this day is the greatest show ever made.
Classic, yeah.
Yeah, you had all the Nickelodeon lineup back then was like.
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Are You Afraid of the Dark? I was too scared of that shit to watch it though.
Yep,
when
that shit
when
was
the
scary.
music would drop, and
Super scary.
Yeah, I would be like, no. I'd have to change it quickly.
And I was a Goosebumps kid. Did you read like the Goosebumps books?
No, I never read them, but I liked the way those shits looked.
Super, like their design was dope. How they had
On
like the
point.
like, and I think if I remember correctly, they like I think the like green goop on it kind of was like risen on the book, and it was like a glittery. Like they went all out for that shit, which is a smart ass tactic. Because in like 2nd and 3rd grade, if you just see some shiny ass book with like some like glittery type of like cover on it, you're gonna want to buy that book.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they know exactly how to manipulate kids and me because I still am a sucker for.
Were a ripoff though, low key, because they'd kind of trap you where you'd be there without your parents, and I think you were allowed to mark down like which books you wanted to buy. And then your parents would just get like a bill for like $60. And be like, "What? You bought 7 books? Like you don't even read, motherfucker." I used to buy mad shit. Like I think they had like sport posters and sport books, and then I would like just want to buy it because you were in school. And then when I got home with those shits, like I would never touch them.
Yeah. Again, I just like the way they looked. I never read them. I never read them once, but they were so popular back when we were going.
There was like 9,000 of them shits too. There was a lot of Goosebumps books.
Yeah, definitely.
It's kind of like the OG Harry Potter.
Let me run this by you. This is a thought that I had that was bothering the shit out of me last week because when I was driving, I run into this every other drive, but whoever decided that when you press the window down button when you're driving, that the shit should go all the way down. If you just tap it, that person needs to be hung. That shit is the most obnoxious shit ever. Because there are times I want to do the tiniest little crack in the window.
And the whole shit goes down.
So that it's a fucking struggle to get it there. Like you tap it, then you try to bring it back up a little bit, but then it'll go all the way back up.
Yeah.
So you got to like tap it down, tap it back up, and then tap it again to get it to the spot. Like, honestly, I'll say something controversial right now. I would rather have the straight up roll down shits versus the new style where it does too much. Just make it so however much I press it is how far that shit goes down. And some cars are smart where that is what they have. Like, whatever you press, it'll go down to that and you're good. But I feel like a lot of newer cars, when you press that shit, it goes right away. It goes all the way down. And it's like, bitch, if I want to go all the way down, I will sit there for the 3 seconds it takes to get that shit all the way down. Like, did they really think by saving me 2 seconds on the press shit that they're making my life easier? No, you're making my life harder because sometimes you don't want to put the window all the way down. You want just a little crack in it. If you're going 70 on the highway and you want some fresh air, you don't want the full shit open because then you get the...
The whole window down on the highway going 70 is not a good move.
The only thing you could do is a little crack in the window, and they make it next to impossible in some cars to do that. So whoever came up with that idea needs to be launched into the sun. Do you agree with me on that shit?
Yeah, you kind of just swayed me in your whole argument because I kind of was going to be on the other side of it where I was like, occasionally I'll be good and I'll do a tap and it just gives me a tap and I'll tap a little bit more and it'll go down a little bit more. For the most part, though, if I'm tap, eventually it's going to be like, fuck you, we're just going all the way down.
Yes.
Which I kind of get tight at. So I kind of agree with you where it's like, you just design this whole fresh-ass car, like engine, carburetors, fucking wires, electronics. And the one thing that was on your mind was like, let us put this button in where if you push it, it'll just go all the way down. Like, there's really absolutely no benefit to it. Like,
That's what I'm saying.
Someone making an argument like, no, when you get, I'm trying to even play devil's advocate where it's like, if you get to a toll booth and you just want to push it once, it's like, no, I could just hold it.
Yes.
The same shit can happen as if I push. There's no, it's not like I can reach for my money faster while I just push the button once. Yeah, you swayed me. There's zero benefit to the one push down button.
The thing that frustrates me about it is that they genuinely thought they were adding a feature that makes the car even better. Like they thought we're freaking this and everybody's going to love this. But it's just people who think they're smarter than they are, and they're trying to override some basic common sense. Like basic common sense is like, all you got to do is sit there and hold it for 3 seconds for it to go down.
I'm kind of thinking that there's got to be some backstory to it. Like low key, there's some shit that I've started to see like cars do. Like, did you know that school buses have to stop? I think, did we speak? School buses have to stop at the train tracks, open their door, and have their front window open at every like school at every train tracks. So like low key, there might be some there might be some guy who once got stuck in his car or some shit because he was trying to do the push down shit that we do, but it wouldn't go down. So they're like, we got to do the one push for the whole window. Like, there's got to be a reason.
Some backstory, some safety backstory.
There's got to be, because that would be a thing that they thought was so cool that when you're test driving the car, the guy would be like, does this have the one push window thing? They never say that shit once in a test drive. Never. And if it was that dope where they specifically went out of their way to make that shit in the button, they would tell the car salesman or the dealership, make sure you tell them in the test drive that it's got the one push shit. That'll fucking that's the panty dropper. Like, no one ever mentions that shit, and it's just there. So it's kind of making me think that like William Ford died because he couldn't get his window down or some shit, and they just started doing it. They're like, yo, you got to push this shit once, and you're good.
So that might be the reason, because it's so hard to imagine that anybody actually prefers that. You know?
Yeah.
It's got to be. Like,
and it's only on the fucking driver's side, so it's like,
oh really? It's not on the passenger side?
No. No, it's only on the driver's side. So I think I once asked, like, I don't know who I asked, maybe my dad, and he was like, yeah, I think it's just for like if you get to the toll booth or something like that, you could just push it once and it goes down. But any other like reason for it to help you, there's no benefit, because yeah, to your point, I could just hold the button for the same amount of time that the window's going down.
So much easier to do it that way, man. It's so obnoxious. The number of times, and for me, it's like when I'm driving, I'll hit my vape every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm driving like 70 on the highway, I just want to crack it the tiniest bit so I could blow it right out the window.
But then the whole window goes
down. The shit is like, and all of a sudden I'm getting hit with the hurricane, and I'm like, and then I try to put it back up, and it goes all the way up, and then I'm wrestling my car on some basic shit. I would literally rather have the roll windows. Like, I think it has to go
back to like when toll booths, because I remember specifically toll booths, you would have to like roll down the window, you could throw some change in that shit, and then drive away. So like it does make sense if it was that type of thing where you roll up. Toll booths
aren't even a thing anymore, bro.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of outdated now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like you roll up to the toll booth, push the button, go reach for your change or your money, give the dude his shit, drive away, hit it one time, and then as you're going, like it drives up. Like in theory, that sounds like in a perfect world, that's how it would be used. But to your point, easy pass, and now there's like tollless lanes, so they should get rid of that shit 100%.
They should definitely get rid of that. It's so obnoxious. All right,
I will say though, if you do have your whole full window down, this is you got to counter that shit by having either the passenger side window or like the back window open, because it sounds like there's like a sonic boom if you don't have any other windows open.
Yeah, it's weird how I also relate it to like the speed you're going and the way the wind is blowing. Like there's some situations where you'll have like one window down, and the way the wind is blowing and the speed you're driving and like the direction you're going, it'll be like it hits you with like some
like a muffler.
Yeah, like super obnoxious and persistent, like pulsating noise.
Yeah.
You know? And then like if you mess with it a little bit and roll the window up a certain amount or open up another window a little bit, then yeah, it could go away or it could be like mitigated. But it's weird how only sometimes it hits you with that sound.
Sometimes that shit is like booming. Like if you
Yeah.
have like if you have the window all the way down and nothing else open, that shit is like painful if you try to drive and have that
Yeah, you
sound the
can't.
whole
You just
time.
can't. You can't do
No.
it. It's too hard.
Are you window down, arm out, like, and you're kind of like slapping the wind type of shit with your hand, like moving your hand? Like, are you a hand out the window type of guy?
I've done that. I've done that plenty of times. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I make a point of it to do it all the time, but like, like certainly if you're driving on some 30, 35 mile an hour type stuff and you're not on the highway, yeah, rolling down the window and just putting your arm up or putting your hand out. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. I like that feeling.
Yeah, I think I'm a big like arm out the window guy. I like kind of fighting the air with my arm and like pushing it and it like kind of giving it some force back.
Little resistance, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
So now let's talk about our sleep issues that we're dealing with the little ones. Oh. So Molly's away, you just had to put the little ones to bed.
Yeah, they're probably crying and shitting on themselves right now while the door is closed. But yeah, I put three girls to bed tonight, all sleeping right now and good money. But yeah, it's miserable.
What's your process? What's your process, and how long does it take?
Some nights it takes like 2 hours of them just like not fucking sleeping because they'll take a nap during the day. And it's the same thing with me. Like if I nap, sometimes even if it's like a quick close my eyes, like 5-minute type of shit, I could be up till like 3 a.m. watching some shows on TV. Whereas if I don't get a nap, it's a wrap. I could fall asleep like as soon as my head hits the pillow. So same thing with them. If they nap, it's over. Like, so if I see them shutting their eyes, and this is probably bad for like their brain development or something, but I'll try and wake them up so hard throughout the day just so they don't nap, which will fuck me up for my bedtime routine. So they didn't nap today, and well, Cece, my youngest, napped, but Nix and Scotty didn't, and they kind of knocked right out in maybe a half an hour. But that's like a half an hour of me exerting mad energy, like lay doing some shit.
So walk me through it. You take them to brush their teeth and shit, right?
Yeah, they go upstairs, put them in their pajamas, brush their teeth, read a book, and then it's like time to lay down. And
you do one book for all three?
Tonight I did 2 books because Scotty usually doesn't want to read a book, but Nix is reading like a chapter book, so I'll read her shit. So it's either 2 or 1 book, but I try and like ace through that book so I can just go chill.
And you got 3 in one room?
No.
Two in one or 3 different rooms?
Yeah, 2 in 1, but now
okay.
Scotty sleeps in our room, which is a whole thing. And I spoke to my boy and I spoke to you, which you'll talk about, but like one of my friends, his mom was like, wherever they sleep, I don't give a fuck. Like if they want to sleep in the bed with us, I'm not putting up a fight because like just getting them to sleep is like a thing. So I'm kind of like at that point too, where it's like I want them sleeping in the room, but if they just go to sleep, well, like they could sleep on top of the fucking garbage can for all I care. If they're sleeping, then I'm good with me. And I don't remember that with me as a kid because I feel like I would just lay down. Maybe I'd fuck around with my brother a little bit because we shared a room, we had a bunk bed. But I just felt like I just slept, like, and now I want to tell them, like, I kind of want to like shake them and just be like, yo, do you understand how good it is to just sleep?
Now, so when they go to bed, do they ever, like, when it's a struggle, what happens? You put them down, you leave the room, and then 2 minutes later they walk out and start talking
like
to you?
Scotty will walk out of the room. Nix will like encourage her to walk out of the room. They'll start like fucking around, fighting, or like playing with each other and just making mad noise. And I got to be like, get back in your bed, lay down, like constant shit like that. And Scotty just doesn't lay down. So like, it's always just like, lay down. And then I got to like pretend to put her in the crib and act like she's going to be in there the whole night. She'll start crying and then she'll go lay down. It's just a whole, like, putting people to bed is, that shit is miserable, dog.
So let me tell you, so this happened this past weekend. So I had a busy ass Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We had 2 soccer games. Then we had this like retirement party that we went to. And it was like 98 degrees outside. And so spent pretty much the entire day
out.
Like Nick, exactly. Nick Lachey was with us. So we were out in the sun the whole time, super long day. I wanted to watch the Masters. I didn't. I only got to watch like at
the U.S. Open.
No, the I'm sorry, not the PGA Championship. I wanted to watch the PGA Championship, but I only got to see like the end of it on Saturday. And like I didn't realize it until after the fact, but on Saturday, in the midst of all that shit and all that heat, I didn't really eat much. Like I ate something right in the morning, and then the next time I ate was like 4 p.m. or something like that.
Damn.
So that was probably sort of affecting my mood too a little bit. So they were wearing down on my nerves. Now we put the little one to bed, and then it was a whole thing. Like she went to bed later than usual, and so I fell asleep late, probably like 12 or 12:30, something like that, right? After we had put her to bed late, and she didn't nap that day or the day before, she didn't sleep well the night before.
You're good money.
She needed sleep hard, right? I finally fall asleep at like 12:30, something like that. At 2:00, the little one comes in and is like, just like, I'm scared. And we're like, scared of what?
Yeah, I've been like, yo, the fucking alarm's on, the doors are locked, go the fuck back to sleep.
Well, that's kind of what happened, because she was just like, I'm scared. And we were like, scared of what? She's like, I'm just scared. And we're like, we're here. You gotta
give us more than that.
We're here. You're safe. Like, don't worry. We'll protect you. There's nothing to be scared of. You can go back to bed. And she came back another time. Like, she left. Remember, I had just gotten to sleep at like 12:30. She came in. That was 2 a.m. by the way.
So now are you falling back asleep? Because sometimes I like train my mind where I'm like, I can't even try and fall asleep right now, because if I do get in the butter zone, someone's going to fuck that shit up.
No. So what happened was, when she woke us up at 2, it was sort of on some creepy shit too. Because like,
they walk in like a zombie, right?
Because I was out when she came in. And like all I saw, like I pop up and you just see like the little one's shadow and outline.
Yeah.
And she was like almost crying, like, I'm scared. And it felt like I was in a horror movie or something. I was like, what's going on? Like I just had to, come to my consciousness out of nowhere. And I was
like, they're just like standing in the doorway type thing. Yeah.
And so she sort of woke me up like on some like I'm up now type shit. It was one of those.
Oh.
And so I was up probably 2 hours or something from there. So 2 to 4, wide awake, trying to put the TV on and coax myself back to sleep type shit.
Oh.
And then, dog, so I finally get to sleep at like 4. She comes in at 6 a.m.
That's OD.
On her normal wake up shit. And like, at that age, there's no...
Nah, yeah, it's not like, go lay down. Oh, yeah, go back to sleep.
There's no concern for like, hey, maybe you guys didn't sleep well. I'm gonna go play with my shit and not annoy you. It's just like immediate wake up, comes in loud, and I was just, it fucked me up, man. I was in like between the heat the previous day, not eating much the previous day, and then not sleeping. Nobody in their right mind should want to be around me in that. Like it took everything in me to like not just be the biggest dick in the world to everybody.
I don't blame you, man. That's like when I wake up, I mean, we're obviously older, but like I try to do everything in my power to be quiet, to like not move some shit. To your point, it's like a kid has no filter of understanding. Like, all right, I just came in here a couple hours ago and they got up for that shit, so they might be tired as fuck. Let me just go downstairs. Let me just play with my shit. Let them sleep. When they wake up, I'll be all chipper. They don't give a fuck. And that's what I try to just be on some gangster shit with my girls, where like they woke me up one time, like right in my face at like 6 a.m. type of shit. And I was just like, I was on some like old school and living color where, you remember Homie Don't Play That?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yo, homie, don't play that shit. Like, nah. Like, no, we don't do that. Like, I don't care if you're my daughter or like, not even unless some shit. Because if it was some shit, like if there was a shooter in my house or some shit, like, then that's my time. Like, just don't wake me up earlier than when I'm supposed to wake up, because that's just not. My body like instinctually wakes up at a certain time, so like just let my body do that. But if you wake me up before that shit, you done fucked up. Like,
yeah, it's tough, bro. It's tough. And we've had that issue. not that was a particularly bad night because like she came in at 2, which she doesn't do. Like usually what happens is put him to bed at like 8:30 or something, right? And then it'll be like between 8:30 and 10 will be like they'll come in 2 or 3 times, and you know what I'm saying? Like that's the shit usually. But this one was worse with the later and then coming in super early.
Yeah,
Oh, it was rough, man.
see,
And it fucked up my whole system. Like that day on
the whole
Sunday.
day you were thrown off?
Oh, I was thrown off the whole day, but also I ate so much shit, and that's one of the things that happens when you're sleep deprived. Like your whole system's off, and so I just kept eating shit on my drive that day. Like halfway through the drive, I was so fucking tired. Like my eyes were closing. I had to take caffeine. And then like come nighttime when I'm supposed to be tired again, I wasn't tired at the time I was supposed to be tired. It was like the whole shit was just it was rough, man. it was
driving
rough.
tired shit is one thing. I used to like play a game with myself where I would look in the rearview mirror and see how close my eyes can close without actually closing them. And that would be the game that I would play.
Dangerous.
It was
That's
super
so
dangerous, but it was kind of cool because I was like, my eyes are like kind of shut, but I'm like still driving a little bit. And like,
I definitely had that naturally. I definitely had that naturally that day. Like my eyes were definitely shutting. But what I do when that was happening, there's a bunch of things I'll do. So I'll turn on like
but some of that shit
radio
doesn't. I
station.
feel like your body knows. Even if you try to sing loud to a song, your body's like, you don't
No,
really want to be singing to this shit. You
I
want to
don't
be
sing.
sleeping.
I just make it super loud, and that wakes me up a little bit. It only gives you a very temporary and quick effect. Like it'll
Yep.
happen quickly, and then it tapers off. So
Yep.
you got to do something else. The other thing I'll do is I'll turn the AC on the coldest with blowing full steam, and so I'll make myself freezing to wake myself up. The
That
other
shit
thing I'll
doesn't
do
put
is
you to sleep too, though.
no, because you get the shock to your system quickly. The other thing I do is I'll lower the windows to get that loud ass noise to wake me up. Like there's a
Yeah,
number of
that
shit
one.
that I'll,
That one like works for a half a second. I feel like
yeah, but so what happens is it's like a little
jolt.
blast of like adrenaline. Yeah, a little jolt that kind of can shake you out of it. If you do enough of those things, it could sort of shake you out of it and get you. Eventually, I knew a second wave was coming. I just had to get to the second wave. So I
Yeah.
immediately took a caffeine pill, immediately ran through all my tricks, and then eventually I sort of snapped out of it and was good.
Damn. Yeah, that's clutch because I go through my tactics. I'll do the Ace Ventura. I'll put my head out the window. I'll roll down the windows, make it super brick when it's cold. I'll try and sing to the radio, but like, I don't know. The bodies are smart, man. Like they know when you're trying to trick your body.
Yeah,
And like,
that's so true.
and it's weird because sometimes when I'm mad tired, like I could just fall asleep while I'm driving. But then other times when I'm just sitting, like waiting somewhere, I can't fall asleep. And I'm like, just take me to where I was
Yeah,
when I was mad tired.
It's crazy, and I've noticed this too as I've gotten older. We may have talked about this before on the podcast, but I find it fascinating. Tiredness comes in waves.
Mhm.
Like you will get a wave of tiredness where your body's ready to fall asleep, and if you push through that,
It's a
you'll be awake.
Yep.
And then you have to wait. It's almost like a train stop. Like you have to wait for the next train to come to hop on that shit. That train is called sleep.
Yep.
You know, like that shit is definitely how it works.
Yeah.
I've experienced that so many times where like I'll get that wave of tiredness. I could easily fall asleep. If I push through, then I'm good for another 3 hours, and then I might get another wave of tiredness.
I want to start to shake that. I think I wake up at like 7:05 every morning. Like it's literally every time I click my phone, it's the same time every morning.
That's impressive.
It is for like my body, but I don't know how I don't know how that happens because even some mornings where I'm like, I'm gonna try and beat this shit and I'm gonna just lay here a couple more minutes and then I click it and it's the same shit as like the day before. I don't know how my body is just so like that's why the body is a weird thing where it's like it's so weird that every morning it just knows regardless of when I go to sleep. I could go to sleep at 7 p.m., 9 p.m., 1 p.m. I'm still waking up at the exact same time, which to me is just the weirdest shit ever.
That's interesting because you don't fall asleep at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
occasionally
really
I'll
interesting.
like wake up in the middle of the night or something like that. But if I go back to sleep on some like, all right, to your point, like I caught the train that I'm supposed to be on, that shit's going to get you back into the terminal when you wake up, when you're supposed to wake up, you know?
That's interesting because I never had that, the like natural wake up at the same time. I never had that.
It's weird, man, because literally every morning it's the same. Like, I guess my body's just gotten so used to that time that it just wakes up at that time. It's crazy.
So let me do the math on that. So if you're waking up at 7, then 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 12, 11. So you should go to bed at 11 every night then. That's
Yeah, I
the
think I
time you
get
should.
like solid amounts of sleep. I'm usually in bed like 10, 11. And I don't even watch too many like I used to watch Colbert, but I don't really fuck with him anymore. And
Yeah, I
then
don't
Jimmy
either.
Kimmel, I don't like anymore. Like he said some shit about like YouTubers trying to shit on them one time, and he's kind of corny. And then Fallon's whack. Like all those late shows are, I don't know, I think garbage to me. But I've been watching sports lately, and then also The Office has been on it late at night. But other than that, like there's no good shows on really anymore.
Yeah, I need to drift off to TV. I need to do. That's how I always fall asleep.
And how's
Usually,
Like Crystal's cool with the TV on? Because Molly hates that shit. Like it's
yeah,
kind of like a big thing.
God bless Crystal Ball because she's great with it. Like most of the time, it doesn't affect her at all, and she'll
That's
just be able
wild.
to fall right asleep. And
Yeah.
even on days where it does affect her, she'll put on the mask shit, and then she's
Oh,
out, and she's good. And the sound, I'm always I'm like thoughtful about the sound. I had the sound on the bare minimum where I could hear it.
hmm
Like if I could hear 6 on the volume, it's on 6.
oh,
So the
yeah, yeah,
sound
yeah.
doesn't bother her, and then the visuals don't bother her, and she's good. Like she's good about that. So I'm very lucky in that sense.
Yeah, that is lucky because Molly hates that shit, and she'll like read before she goes to bed, and sometimes she'll put on this like these like it's this lady whispering saying some like positive ass shit, and I'm just like, I mean, it's cool, but it's also like we could just have the obnoxious ass TV on too, and it's like kind of the same thing.
Oh, so she has some sort of audio that plays before she goes to sleep.
Yeah, she does that sometimes, or she reads, or she's like watching some shit on her phone, and I'm like, that's kind of the same shit. So when she's on her phone, I could have the TV on, but it kind of fucks up my flow because the TV at night is really where I like lock in.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't I can't sit
I'm
on the
with you on
couch and
that.
really watch that shit, but like in bed, sitting, posting up, there's nothing better than that shit.
Yeah, and then so you have the same thing as me. You'll start to drift off while you're watching something.
Yeah. If I could do everything in the bed, like if I like when I have like just a big ass plate of Chinese food, I want to eat that shit in bed watching TV. If I'm going to bed, I want to be watching TV. Like the bed, like having a comfy ass bed is really like the most important thing in your life, I think.
No, I'm with you. I mean, I understand when people say that, like, oh, eating in your bed, that's like dirty. You leave some crumbs. It's not good. Like, I get when people say that. Like, I'm not going to disagree with them, but at the same time, I definitely eat in bed. Like, there's no way around it. Like,
Yeah,
I eat in bed all the fucking time.
you have to, even if it's some popcorn or just some regular ass shit. Like there's no other way to not. You got to eat in bed. I'm having a problem right now because I have. It's like a $60 pillow. Like it's like a butter ass pillow, but I've got two like kind of firmy pillows, and then two like squishy type pillows that like are moldable. And then I have like this long shit that I kind of can fold and like put behind my bed and prop my head up. I have like two mini pillows like that are like they're the fucking MVP of the bed, low key, because they're the ones that will prop your shit perfectly when you need it propped to watch. You know, like you could have your pillows, but then you need some shit to like make your
Yes.
shit like stay.
Mm-hmm.
I've got
Mm-hmm.
two of those bitches in my bed that like are so clutch. And actually one of them today, I washed my bed sheets and I took the pillow off, but I forgot to take the pillow out of the pillowcase
Oh,
and I just put it in the wash. And so the like fluffy shit got all wet and it's kind of a wrap. And then I put it in the dryer by mistake and the whole shit's shredded. So now I'm only down to
no.
one shit, and Molly uses one of them too. So I got to pick up another like MVP, like this size pillow
Yeah.
is the MVP of everybody's house, low key on your couch. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always that one pillow that's like that small shit that fits right in the like crescent of your neck.
I've never had one that exact size, but I have smaller pillows than the normal size pillow that I
Yeah,
do
yours
use
are
in
kind
my
of like
bed.
medium. You need a
They're medium size.
yeah,
Yeah.
those
So,
colorful
but
ones.
yeah, I'll take your word for it though that I need the small shit. Like
You
I'll
need a
go buy a
small
small
moldable
shit.
shit because
Mm-hmm.
I've got a long one like this. It's meant to go like in between in between your back, because like when your back sleeps, it could be like off.
Right.
So I use it as like it's because your pillow, if you have a firm one, your head's here, and there's like it's the same shit with your back. There's a space between your neck and the pillow, so you need like a connector, like an adapter. That pillow, the small shit, is that adapter to your pillow, and low key, it's a fucking game changer.
Yeah, you're selling me on this pillow, because I've often had the thought, laying in my bed with my various pillows, I can never get the exact right level and height that I want to be when I'm laying there.
You need
I'm
the
sort of looking
connector
at the TV and I'm chilling. Like there's always like I'm always like an inch or two off, where I'm just like, if I could just tweak this a little bit. But I never really hit that promised land in terms of the butter zone where I'm fully like melting into the bed. You know what I mean?
That connector, and it's been a game changer. But now I'm kind of fucked up where I used to have a perfect, like, I don't know if it would be the hard shit on the bottom and the squishy on top, and that's where I put my head, but it's too high up that even the connector's like, dog, there's too much of a separation here. So I got to find out. It's been like 2 weeks. I can't figure out the perfect combination of, because I gotta have like two pillows, I think, because one pillow, then my head is too low, then it's kind of like ducking down and I'm kind of breaking my neck. And then two is too high. So I got to find the perfect balance of, maybe it's just two squishy pillows.
No, I don't know. See, the squishy thing, here's the thing about squishy pillows or like soft beds. It feels good when you're using it, but then when you get up, your back will hurt or your neck will hurt or it'll feel off.
Yeah.
Because there's no support with those, and that you end up paying for that on the back end of it. Because on the front end, it feels good as fuck. Like I have these like the beanbag chairs. I have a couple of those beanbag chairs. And when you sit in them, it feels
just
great.
Like plop right into
so
it. It's like heaven.
Comfy. Yeah. It's like heaven. But then there was a while, like 3 or 4 years ago, I had gotten those chairs and I was sitting in it and I was on my computer and I was doing some editing and like I was like, oh, this feels so good. But then I noticed that like my back was hurting and shit sometimes during the day and it would just feel weak and off. And then I talked to my mom about it. She's a physical therapist and she was like, it is 100% those beanbag chairs.
Yeah.
Because they're soft, they provide you no support, and so you're like stressing your body as you're laying in that shit. And so the same thing applies with pillows for your neck. The same thing applies with beds. Like if you had asked me, what kind of bed do you prefer? If you asked me when I'm 20 years old, I'd be like, well, of course a fucking soft bed. Everybody wants like some soft, cushy feeling shit. No, the answer is actually not only do you want the firm beds, you want like an ultra firm bed, because it'll still feel good. It won't feel as good, but then in the morning you wake up and you're good. Like you don't have any aches or pains or anything like that. And so it's weird because it's sort of like a catch-22. You want to sleep in the soft shit, but then you pay for it later.
That's a good ass point, because I feel like you also like release your body. So it's kind of like your body loosens up, whereas now your back is conformed in some weird fucking way. Whereas if you're on the hard shit, it's like sitting straight up in a chair.
That's right.
Like your body is just supposed to be naturally aligned. Like your spine is straight. Where if you slouch, your back's going to be fucked up regardless of what you're sitting in. A firm ass bed doesn't allow you that leeway to kind of like relax your body. So yeah, on the surface of it, you might be like, nah, the squishier shit is just like your body's free. You could just jump into that bitch. And I get my mom and stepfather had a water bed for years, and I think they finally just got rid of it. And I don't know how they did it, man. I don't think my mom or Gary like had a bad back, or maybe Gary has a bad back now, but like a waterbed in theory just seems like the worst idea for a bed.
Yeah, I mean,
but there's got to be some scientific shit to it where like there's studies that show, like, because what the fuck? Why would they make a waterbed?
Because they feel good. Like, have you ever been in one? They feel good.
Yeah.
They feel good. Like, they feel relaxing and nice.
But it also, like, when I would, like move, like, that shit.
Feel like you're drowning.
Yeah, like, I know their shit was dumb old. Are waterbeds still, like, a popular thing?
I don't know. Let me look that up. That's a good question.
Because, like, to me, it's it's literally the worst. Because when I roll over, like I want my legs to just be in a spot. That shit, I feel like you can never, if your legs are in a good spot and you happen to just like fart and your like legs move and you lose that spot, that shit's never coming back. It's like a wave. Like you lost the water. It just moves wherever.
Okay, apparently the peak of their popularity was the 1980s.
Oh, yeah. See? Yeah, their shit was probably from 1980.
Yeah, I remember those shits. It's funny. Yeah, you don't hear much about them anymore. Like, nobody really...
Well, there's like that, and then the Austin Powers, like the love bed, you know, like in the shape of a heart. Like it's weird.
Right. Yeah.
Beds just like go out of style.
I'm looking.
Waterbed is not like, I don't think, I wonder if you could walk into Mattress Firm. I'd challenge someone because there's a Mattress Firm in every random spot to walk into Mattress Firm and see if they still sell waterbeds.
Yeah, I'm looking. It looks like they still sell them. Yeah. So they still sell them, but I can't imagine they're popular anymore. You know,
I can't imagine they're popular, and I can't imagine that there's any like perks to like having one, you know?
Yeah, now they got the, you know, those expensive mattresses with the memory foam and the fucking, like, you can change the height of your shit, and they got all sorts of shit like that.
Mattresses are wild. They're a pain in the ass to fucking get into your room, but now they come in like these boxes that are like so small. But once it's like a Jack in the Box, like once you take it out of the box, it's a OD wrap because that shit is like,
yeah, that's what the one I have now
came in some small ass box.
Came in a small box, opened it up, popped open, and it just takes like a couple days to fully like elevate. But yeah, that's how I got the one I have right now.
And then you try to take that shit out of the we took a mattress out of our room and it was a fucking pain in the ass. Like we had to get it downstairs to our basement and. Yeah, mattresses are kind of beast.
I had one mattress that like molded to my body. That like
is that good or bad?
It was like no, it was bad in that like it was a mattress, and then there was one area where I always laid where it became a little bit like bent in type shit. And I was like, damn, am I fat? Like, is that why it's doing that? But it just like down over time.
Yeah, I mean it's like sneakers. I mean it's like you wear sneakers for long enough, and then you try to like give them to someone else, and it's like your feet are kind of molded to what that sole is, you know? So it's the same thing with a bed. It's like, that's why I've seen people say like, oh, we've got this mattress that we haven't used for that long. Like, do we want to donate it? And I'm like, one, fuck no. Like, you've probably been like fucking on it and like farting and shit and like probably tinkling while you sleep. Like, mattress is not something that you should be passing on to other people. Regardless of how, you know, even if you slept in that shit one night, you definitely farted that one night. You
must hate hotels then, huh?
I didn't even think about that, but like, yeah.
Hotels, I mean, are you kidding me? The number of people who are like fucking in various hotels and farting in various hotels. You could just not stay at even an Airbnb. You go to Airbnb, it's like, well, there's been at least one person here who's been farting and jerking off and whatever, you know?
Yeah, that is true. And I've stayed in some fucking shitty ass hotels that like I've just had some of the best sleep. I would never want to do a black eye test to some of like those Super 8 motels that I've slept in.
I know there's some people who say, "Oh, I sleep so bad in hotels." I've had the opposite experience. I sleep like a baby when I'm.
Oh yeah, I love hotels. Like I love sleeping in hotels because it's like you could put the like climate to whatever you want and like. They make the sheets look all nice, all white bedding, and like, you know, like just the ambiance looks nice. And it's just different. Like it's not your bed, which to me is just like, oh, I'm gonna just sleep in this shit. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I get good sleep in hotels.
Yeah, I agree with you too. That like for some reason, it's always like 5 degrees colder in the hotel room. Like whatever the normal temperature is indoors somewhere in the hotel room, it's 5 degrees colder. Oh, I like to keep my shit at 65. In a hotel, it's like 60. You know?
Yeah, they do it right. And they get like different air in a hotel. Like their shit is colder than like a house air. Because like it could be the same temperature in your house, but in a hotel, that air just hits different. Like it's just crispier. Like their vents, whoever makes vents in hotels, like kind of needs a raise as a company. Like, I don't, like because their shit's dead ass just hit different. Like it, like when you do make it like a couple notches lower and that shit kicks on and it's just like boom, like you're like you know the shit's working.
It's gonna be on point.
You know it's gonna be crispy and cold. It's almost like there's a refrigerator behind every filter in a hotel room that like when you make that shit colder, they just open up the door and it's like a Coors Light commercial and there's just like cold, brisk ass air coming in your room. And sometimes it gets a little bit too cold. And you gotta be like, yo, close the fridge door a little bit. But
Yeah,
if
I like
there's
that.
a filter company or some shit for hotels, like if someone has a monopoly on there's gotta be a filter company, right?
Oh, of course.
They gotta be like their shit is A1. They're the best filter company out there because that air just hits way different than like what the fucking filters in my house are doing. I'm
Are
gonna
you
look at the filter company one time at like a Marriott and fucking call them and be like, yo, can you just do all the filters in my house?
are you traveling for work anytime soon or no?
I'm going to Pennsylvania by Sesame's Place in Hershey, Pennsylvania. It's kind of gangster that the
What's the
company
event?
it's a volleyball tournament. And
Nice.
then they have one in Florida. But
When you going there?
June is Pennsylvania. Florida is like July or something. Like it's summertime. It's gonna be blazing hot.
Oh, in
Um,
Florida in July. Yeah, it'll be like 110 feels
yeah,
like.
it's gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna kind of suck. Um, but the fucking Hershey family is kind of gangster that they put Hershey, Pennsylvania on the map. Like imagine having like a Kulinskiville because of like your political show. Like if you were so G enough, like what did they call Hershey, Pennsylvania before the fucking Hershey factory was there?
Good question.
You know?
Good question.
Like they kind
No,
of just
no
overrided that
Roseville.
shit. Yeah, like it definitely wasn't important enough that they were like, fuck you guys, this shit is called Hershey now. And then by Hershey, Pennsylvania, there's still um people on fucking horse and
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. Amish
buggy shit.
country's over there, right? Is it Amish country in Pennsylvania?
That shit to me is so wild how like I'm driving by in a car listening to like some new like Kendrick Lamar or some new ass rap music, and they have no idea about any of that shit. Like they'll ride their shit past the fucking Wawa. It's like, yo, just go
Yeah.
inside there and like buy an iPhone.
Yeah, it's totally different way of life. I forgot about Amish people. I forgot about that community.
It's
Yeah,
kind
but
of
it's kind of a big community, right? Like aren't there like whole giant communities that are like that?
yeah, but it's almost like don't you think the kids like see cars driving by and like see somebody on their phone at a school and they're like, I want to do that shit. It's almost like
Don't
some
they
porn
have
type of shit.
don't they have a tradition where like right at puberty they go out and they experience normal life and then they come back?
Oh, is that a thing?
I think that's a thing. I think that's a thing. I'm pretty sure it's with the Amish people. Actually, I don't know if it's Amish or something else, but I think it's them.
So in
And
theory,
they
it's kind of like you have one day to like learn about everything else that's going on.
I think it's like, like a test. Hey, are you really about this life? Like go try modernity or something.
Damn, I wonder what like the first like is like someone in the fucking Amishville like they get there one day and they're like, I'm gonna try Wordle, and then like they just do some shit on a self or they play like fucking Angry Birds or something like that, and they're like, I feel like if I played that shit one time, I'd be like, yo, this shit is whack. Like I want to go back to.
Yeah, I would bet that most people probably go back to that lifestyle because if it's all you know, then you're going to be like, I want to go back to everything I know.
That's what I'm saying. And how do you like ease into that in one day? It's kind of like you
Yeah,
got to
you
go for
can't.
the jugular, like, and I'm sure there's probably people that are just wilding out, like. Well, I mean, I've seen it. I've been to like upstate New York where I've seen people like, well, maybe they just gamble as like people, but they all go to like the strip clubs up there and stuff like that and wild out because it's like they're not supposed to be doing that. So then they go and just like express themselves by doing that shit like because they're not supposed to be.
Yeah, there's definitely a backlash effect with some people. Like that's the thing we were describing with Nick Cannon. There was like that backlash
Yeah,
effect
yeah.
in his upbringing. That's definitely a thing. The question is what percentage of people would do the backlash shit and what percentage of people are like traditional and would just follow the rules that were laid out for them. Because there's definitely people that are in both camps. It's just a question of what are the percentages. I would guess that for the Amish community, most people end up staying in that lifestyle because that's all they know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, shit, it's kind of hard, man, to give up like not going to use a car, You know, I don't know. Do they use air conditioning? Is that something
Oh
that they
no,
use, or do they not use that too? Like
that shit would suck. I
a
feel like
lot
they
of
have
things
like
in
a horse
modernity,
blowing air on them or some weird
a
shit.
lot of things in modernity, you know, I wouldn't be able to give up. But then again, I've been raised in this shit the entire time. If I was Amish and I was raised in that, would I want to leave that? I don't know. But it is kind of crazy though. Like giant pockets, giant communities of that. Like there are places all around this country. It's interesting. There's different pockets everywhere. Like Utah's like a large percentage of people in Utah are Mormons. You
Yeah.
know, there. You know, you got communities in
But
upstate New
what do
York that are
Mormons do? They just believe that they could have multiple wives. Like, or do they? I don't. I feel like Mormons do regular shit. Like they're going
some
to
are
coffee shops and.
some are polygamist. So maybe they do have. I don't know if it's legal though, technically, to be a polygamist. But anyway, I think some of them are polygamists. But it's just another branch. They view themselves as like I think another branch of Christianity with Joseph Smith or whatever his name is the prophet that came after Jesus, something like that. And you have in upstate New York, there's the ultra Orthodox Hasidic Jewish community.
Yep.
There's places in New York that have giant like Muslim communities. There's places in Michigan, I think, that have big Muslim communities. Like this country's got little pockets of all different sorts of styles. But
It's
I
just
don't. I
weird
like.
how that one is so fucking drastically different and how it just runs into like, a car driving past a fucking horse
Yeah,
and buggy.
yeah, it is crazy. I like. I'm more of a fan of the melting pot style than like the individual little pockets of like totally separate type shit. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like it's much cooler if there's like Amish people living alongside Muslim people, living alongside Jewish people, living alongside some punk rock dude living alongside. You know what I'm saying? Like the mix of everybody living together is better than in those separate pockets.
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
you do
religion
get the
as a whole
sense.
is fucking kind of weird that like one person's like, I believe this shit, and someone else is like, no, I believe this shit, and they dead ass both think that they're fucking right as fuck.
Yeah, especially the ones who really, really believe it and are super gung ho about it. It creates
Yeah.
problems. That's what I'm saying. Like super separate communities, you do get the sense that they're really judgy of everybody who's not in the community, and vice versa. It makes it so that we're also judgy of them because of what they're doing. So everybody's just like skeptical of each other when you have the separated pockets like that, you know?
Yep. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird shit.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap this bitch up. I'm tired, and it seems like you are too. So,
Yeah, I'm fucking mad tired.
all right, guys, we love y'all, and we'll talk to you soon.
There's one thing that I wanted
yeah,
to say
shoot.
that I remember a baseball player once went like they said he was out because he was taking a shower and he like slipped in the shower. I took a shower earlier and I like put soap on and shit. I almost busted my ass. Like
Dead
so
ass.
yeah, if you use like a bar of soap and you lather that shit up on your body a lot, you can slip and bust your ass. So be careful.
That's like honestly, that's more of like an old person issue. Like old people slip in the shower all the fucking time.
No, but like whatever kind of soap I was using, that shit was all over like the bottom of the floor, and it was on some shit where like I like had to catch myself for a second, and like I don't know if I just put too much soap on my body, but like the bubbles and shit got under my feet that I kind of was like, yo, I gotta
This
be
is
careful
dangerous.
with how much fucking soap I put on my body.
Yeah, you need a better floor to your shower. You need like a
Yeah,
more
like a bath
grippy,
mat or some shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
more grippy floor because if you're slipping, that's not good if you're slipping in there, dog. That's not
I
a
gotta
great
invest
floor.
in that shit. It's kind of crazy that Bed Bath & Beyond is a fucking conglomerate because all they said is like bed and bath shit.
Yeah,
And
but
beyond, but the beyond shit is still kind of bed and bathy.
yeah, but low key, like stores like that are kind of cool. You go in there and they have everything you can imagine.
They do have it, but
You know
sometimes
what I'm
it's like
saying?
too much shit. Like I'm like, who's buying that shit on the middle shelf that you can't even reach?
Me and Crystal went into some home decor store and there was so much shit. And I was like, there's everything I could ever want for home decoration is just in this one store.
I know, but it's too much shit. Like it's too like it's when you gotta ask someone like, where's a frame that's this size, and they're like, oh, we got that shit over here. I'm like, you shouldn't have that shit. Like there's some shit that you just don't need in a house. Like my mother-in-law will bring home like flowers for flower vases and shit. I'm like, that doesn't need to be in it. Like all you need in a house is some bed and like towels.
Yeah, but they're onto a mindset that you haven't been privy to yet, which is whenever you're going into a store like that, you're looking for some specific shit to fix a specific problem. Like, I got this problem in my bathroom. I need this type of thing. Is it in aisle 16? Okay, I'll go get it. That's what you do. Her mindset when she walks into a store like that is like, I don't even have anything in particular that I'm looking for right now. I want to just walk around and experience this shit. And if something pops out to me, I'm going to buy it.
See,
and so that's why she comes home with the vase shit.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and that's unnecessary. Like, I'll walk around those stores and I'll see, like, my mom has this shit in her room. Like, it'll just be like a random ass, like, knight, like, in some armor shit. And that's the shit I see in the store that I'm like, who the fuck will buy this, like, 3 foot tall knight? And it's like dead ass like a knight, and it's got like a sword in his hand.
Fucking hilarious.
I'm like, who the fuck? My mom is that person. It's like, when stores are selling shit like that, like, they gotta stop selling shit like that.
Nah, see, I'm in between you and your mom. Like, if you had your choice, you would do it like a 20-year-old college student, where you would just have your bed and your TV and that's it. Like, you would do it the most bare bone shit, and your mom's out there buying knights for decoration. Like, I'm in the middle. Like, I'll try to find like a nice painting I like or something and be like, I'll hang that shit up, and then I'll leave it at that. You know, like, you got to split that. I would split that middle ground, because I'm not gonna lie, when I was walking through that home decoration store, I was sort of like, I kind of want to walk through here all day, because I saw a lot of interesting shit. There was like a whole painting area where it was all just different kinds of paintings.
But and I see that shit and I'm just like, who, like, I literally looked at all the toys we had downstairs and just shit in the house, and I was just like, I would be content just throwing all this shit out.
Yeah, the toys thing, I'm with you, because toys get.
But just everything, like, there's just shit, like, this shit just needs to be thrown the fuck out. Like, what, like what the fuck?
The clutter has gotten to you, that you can't stand the clutter. I mean, look, that's what happens when you have 3 kids, dog. You're gonna have clutter everywhere.
There's fucking everywhere. Like, I don't even know. There's this guy. Like, do we need this guy? I
really, really hope that shit ends up being the thumbnail for this podcast. Like, that shit right there. Like,
I think this guy's name is like Croc McDean or some shit. Molly might have had this shit since like '88.
McDean.
But look at this guy.
That shit is sort of creepy, bro. Look at that face. Ah.
If this shit is like Toy Story, this motherfucker comes to life and he runs shit in this household.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Like, look at this GS outfit. Like, this is some drug dealer ass outfit.
Yeah, that's some like velour suit type shit.
Yeah, like, when he's done, he's like, oh, y'all clowning me because Corin picked me up today and was showing off my shit. Get back to work, motherfucker.
All right, on that perfect note to end the podcast. You're just gonna keep showing us little bangers.
Oh, see, this is the shit. Like, I just need to. If I could make the rules, man, I would just have a house with no fucking shit in it. That's how you know I'm tired. I'm just pulling out random ass shit.
Given the random ass shit you just showed me, if I was in your shoes, I'd be saying the same thing. I wouldn't want anything in the house. Clear it all out.
All this shit.
Because when there's physical clutter, it's mental clutter too. Like, when everything is just always shit laying in places it's not supposed to be, and you don't even know why you own the shit. It's like, god damn it, can you just not fucking leave this in the middle of the floor and like?
I used to watch that hoarder shit and be like, how the fuck does someone's house get like that? But now I know.
Now you know, because you got kids, bro. That's what happened.
Not even kids, but like, people just buy shit. Like, why is my mom buying a fucking like medieval fucking knight? You know, like,
it is kind of funny, the thought that she was walking through a store and she saw that and she was like, I'm buying that.
It's got like a little like plate too. Like, it's just fucking dumb, man. Like,
buying a knight. That's hilarious. Of all the home decoration shit, that's like the last thing on my list. I would like, why not? If you're gonna buy a knight, like, why didn't you buy like a little mini pirate?
That's like like, she calls Gary her knight or some shit like that. But like, the manager, when she was checking out with that shit, was like, yo, you don't say some shit. She's buying that shit. Like, chill. And then when she walked out, they were like, yo, they sold that shit. All right, I'm fucking losing my mind.
That's because it's late and we're delirious. Anyway, love you guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Ugh.